Hi guys. Okay, so lots of people have been asking me subject-specific advice about subject-specific advice. So I am going to give advice on how to succeed in A levels. And yeah, I've just finished my A levels for those of you who don't know, and yeah, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. So a lot of these things I didn't do myself, and I really regretted because it just made everything more stressful when it came to revision. But these are some things that you can do to make sure that you're not stressed when it comes to exam time. So the first thing, which I've said at the beginning of all my revision videos, is to listen in class and to understand the concept before you even leave the classroom or get home that day. So you're asking questions, you're participating. When the teacher says, okay guys, listen to this bit, or guys, pens down, they mean it. Pens down and listen, because if you understand the concept at the time, then it means that when you come to revise things, you've already understood it, so you're just reminding yourself rather than teaching yourself. So that's the first thing, is to understand the concept. And if you need to find your teachers at lunchtime or at break or after school, then go for it, because at the end of the day they're paid to make sure that you get an education, but they're not going to chase you to make sure that you understand. You have to make the effort to understand yourself, by yourself. So that's the first thing. The next thing that I would say is, I didn't do this, and sometimes it can be hard, especially if you have loads of homework and things, but some of my teachers would also always say, by the way, next lesson we're doing this, so if you want to read the pages in the textbook, which I did once or twice in year 12 for biology, and it really does help, because if you already have, even though reading the textbook isn't going to make you completely understand, but you're kind of building a little foundation, so you kind of already know the concept, even if you don't understand it completely. So then when the teacher teaches it, it's kind of as if you're consolidating on your learning, even though that is your learning. So it's just like a good feeling when the teacher tells you and you already know it. Not that you know it, but you remember it, and you're like, oh, so that's this, is that how, oh, and you make connections, and you're like, oh. So read the textbook beforehand, and it might be long, but this is just something that will help, and trust me, it will help, because the more times you read over something or you hear something, the longer it stays in your memory, so it moves into your long-term memory as opposed to staying in your short-term memory because you heard it once. So read the textbook before you get to class, and then if you don't manage to read the textbook before you get to class, or even if you want to do it twice, when you get home, what you do is you have to write out all the notes you made in class, which would be quite rough and messy, seeing as you're trying to make notes while the teacher's talking. You write them out in full, neatly, in nice colours, so that you can read it again if you want to, and legibly, and in a way that would be appealing for you to read later on. You do that, and you read the textbook again, or for the first time, alongside, so then you have you've looked at it 3 times already in one day, or in 2 days, whenever it was you decided to read the textbook before or read the textbook after. So you've looked at it 3 times already. So, and the notes that you make, the colourful notes and things, you keep them in a file. You need a file for each like a folder, as in like a ring binder, that's it, for each subject, and you need folder dividers for each topic, so you know exactly where everything is. Make sure you date all your work as well, so you know the order it goes in, and you know when we learnt that and when we learnt this, and that was before that, and that went with that. So you date all your work and you keep it in a file, so whenever you need to read it, so when you read it, you're doing your revision and you've forgotten something and you need to look it up, it's in your book. You don't have to start looking at the textbook. You can look in the textbook as well if you like, but it's also good when you have it in your own words, in your notes. And so yeah, that's that. And then after every single topic, you need to make your revision notes straight away. So some people like to do flashcards, which I find really helpful, but the thing with that is that if you leave it to the last minute, you're not going to have time to do flashcards for every single topic. It's just not feasible for all your subjects. So you'll write your revision notes. However it is you write your revision notes, do that after every single topic, because that's, again, that reminds you of all the things that you've learned during that topic. So that's 4 times that you've looked at your work. That's without even having revised again. That's without having revised, you've looked at it 4 times. So like, you've looked at it so much that when it comes to revision, it's not going to be that hard to recall. Like, of course you might have to work harder. You're not going to, like, you have from June till June the next year, you're not going to remember every single detail, but it will help if you have looked at it. The more times you've looked at it, the more likely you are to remember things, and the less likely you are to have to learn it all over again. So once you've done your revision notes for that topic, you're done with that topic. So when it comes to if the exam is in a month, you've got those notes and you can use them to revise. So your notes need to be so good that you can use them to revise. Of course, you still have your textbook, which you can refer to for reference, but those notes should be able to get you all the marks you need in your exam. So you need all the detail you need all the details down, or however it is you revise, no matter what, like, depending on what kind of notes you would normally make for revision, make those after the topic. Don't make it all in one go at the end of the year. That's basically what I'm saying. And then this is so time consuming, but all these little steps will help towards you getting those grades that you want. And then this is obviously, like, I didn't take this advice, which is why I've come up with these tips, because I wish I had done this myself. But if you can, every once in a while, go over those notes, as in, like, look through your folder, as in the ring binder that I talked about before, and just read over those notes again, because if you've done it in a way that it will be easy for you to read in nice colours, neatly, with nice spacing, it should be just easy and it should flow for you to read through your notes. That's how it should be, and it should jog your memory every single time. It should be so clear that you know every single detail that you've been taught, you've just gone over once you've read those notes again. I'm not talking about the revision notes, I'm talking about the notes that you make after every lesson, not the ones that you make after every topic. So every once in a while, go over those. It might take you half an hour. It really won't take that long to read those notes, but do it every once in a while. And obviously, as the time goes on, it will take longer to go over those notes, so you may have to you might have to do that in like a full-blown study session. So if you're going to say, if I'm studying for 2 hours today, that your studying might just be to read over those notes. So it's really I find it really difficult when they said you need to be studying, you need to be working this amount of time every day. I was like, what are you supposed to be doing? But this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be making those notes, reading your textbook for the next day, and you're supposed to be making revision notes after every topic. That's how you study for your A-levels. And then when it's exam time, that's a whole different ball game, because you've learned everything and all you've got to do now is remind yourself and memorize and learn. So obviously I've done videos on exams, but I can touch on them as well. So like I've said before, past papers, like, literally there's nothing else. Well, if you follow this advice that I've already given, there's literally nothing else you should need to do except past papers, because past papers, and obviously reading your revision notes as well. But what I think is that past papers help you note what you know that you know it, then you know it. And also the things that you don't know, it highlights it as well. So then you can then say, right, I need to revise this. Where are my revision notes? Let me revise. Or where's my textbook? Let me look that up. Or where are my notes in my folder? Let me look that up. So it all ties in together. So once you've done the past papers, and every time you see something that you don't know, you look it up. By the time you've done all the past papers that are available to you, you've revised every single topic, and you know everything in detail, because your notes that you did before were in as much detail as you need to know for your exam. And then what you need to do is you need to go through your specification, which you should, all my teachers always gave us our specification, like at the beginning of the year or whatever. You need to go through your specification, which is found on your exam board website if your school hasn't given it to you. And you need to make sure that every single point on that specification you know. So maybe you need to do that when you're doing your topic notes, actually. So when you're doing those topic notes, you need to have the specification for that topic beside you, and make sure that you've covered all those points in class, and that your revision notes includes all those specification points. So say your revision your specification says is able to describe this process, you make sure that your revision notes have that process outlined. Or if it says is able to define make sure that your revision notes has that definition in it. So it's like I said before, your revision notes should spell out completely everything you need to know to pass your exam, which is found in your specification. So you're writing your revision notes goes hand in hand with reading the specification, and then at the end of the year when you're revising again, like I said, look through that specification and make sure that you're confident with every single one of those. And when you should start revising, I started my revision this year in Easter, as in for my exams. I don't remember when I did it in year 12, but I feel like Easter, starting hardcore revision with a revision timetable, is plenty of time to be ready for your exams if you followed these steps. I started in Easter, and I was ready for my exams in the end, but it was so much more stressful because I hadn't followed these steps from the beginning, and I'd completely forgotten everything, and I was just learning it all over again, basically. So if you want to do well in your A-levels, like I said, just follow this advice and break it down, do it bit by bit, take it as it comes. Don't leave it all to the last second. You will regret it if you leave it all to the last second, because it's so difficult and your mind is constantly like not at ease. So like say you've revised and it's 9 o'clock at night and you've stopped revision, your mind isn't at ease because you're like, hold on, my exams haven't passed yet, so I haven't earned the right to have a break because I still don't know everything I need to know. But if you've gradually built up your knowledge and you've done all this work during the year, by the time it gets to exam time, your mind will be free because you know, and you've set your revision timetable, and you know that you'll be ready by this time and you're ready by this time. Like, life will be so much easier, because the thing is, this year I had to do all these steps from before and then start doing my past papers quite late. But if you've already done everything, then you should, like, when it's time for revision, you should start then on your past papers. You should be at the point where you can do the past papers. This is quite long-winded, and I'm not like, it didn't flow very well, but you basically get the gist of how to do well in your A-levels. Just keep working hard all through the year, so that by the end you're not stressed and you're able to do it. But it can be done to leave it all to the last minute, because obviously I left it all to the last minute, but it's so much easier and so much more worth it to just do it right through the year, all through the year, and you can still have a social life, but if it's going to get in the way of your work, then maybe you shouldn't be doing it. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. Let me know in the comments what you want to see next, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. See you later. Bye.